Am I the a-hole for accusing my sister of putting her husband before her 11-year-old daughter? My sister, 33F, has an 11-year-old daughter with her ex, Gary, 33M. Their relationship was rocky from the start. They dated on and off for years, breaking up and getting back together until my niece was about 3 years old. That was when things finally ended for good. Even though the romantic side of their relationship failed, Gary has always been a steady presence in my niece's life. To this day, my niece adores her dad. She's very much a daddy's girl. Always has been. He shows up for her, makes time for her, and has never treated her like a burden. That bond is really special, and everyone can see how much she thrives when she's with him. After the breakup, my sister had a few casual relationships here and there, but about 3 years ago, she met Paul, 35M. At first, I really tried to be open-minded about him, but Paul has always admitted, almost too openly, that he feels jealous about my sister having a child with someone else. He's told people straight up that he hates having to deal with Gary being in the picture, and it's created a lot of animosity between all of them. The problem is, instead of handling that jealousy like an adult, Paul lets it dictate how he treats my niece. One of the earliest red flags came when my niece had a little framed photo of her and Gary in her bedroom at my sister's house. Paul decided he didn't like seeing pictures of the ex in his home and told my sister he wanted it gone. My sister actually backed him up on it. My niece was crushed, and I remember telling my sister at the time that it was an unnecessary, petty move. I warned her that siding with Paul on things like this would damage whatever relationship Paul was trying to build with her daughter. Meanwhile, at Gary's house, it's the complete opposite. My niece has photos of her and her dad in her room, on the fridge, and even a framed picture of the three of them when she was about 2. It's the only nice family photo they ever took, and Gary keeps it in the living room for her. She treasures that, and honestly, I think it helps her feel secure that her dad values their history. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. My sister bought my niece a cute fairy light photo display for her room, so she could clip photos up. My niece excitedly put a photo of her and her dad on it. Paul discovered it, and he absolutely lost it. He told her she had to take it down immediately because, once again, no photos of her dad were allowed in his house. That was the breaking point. My niece screamed at him. She told him she hated him, that he's not her dad, that she hopes her mom divorces him, and that she never wants to live with him again because her dad is so much better. She even told him not to talk to her ever again. It was brutal to hear, but honestly, I don't blame her. My sister wasn't home during the explosion. When she came back, she found Paul fuming, and my niece completely refusing to even acknowledge him. My niece has been ice-cold toward him since, and when my sister tried to force her to apologize, she ended up fighting with her instead. Things escalated further. My niece stripped her room at my sister's house down to the bare minimum. She took down all the decorations, the little comforts, even the furniture that Paul had contributed to. She made it plain and basic because, according to her, if it's from Paul, I don't want it. She even stopped calling it her room. Now she calls it Paul's room. That one stung, even for me, because it shows just how alienated she feels in what should be her safe space. Naturally, my sister came to me for advice, because my niece had already vented to me too. My sister called my niece petty and said she didn't know why her daughter was being so difficult. I told her point blank that her daughter isn't being petty. She's hurting. And worse, my sister is enabling Paul's jealousy at the expense of her child's feelings. I told her she's choosing Paul over her daughter, and I reminded her this wasn't about Gary's photo being displayed in the living room or anywhere public. It was her daughter's bedroom. Kids need to feel like their room is theirs, and Paul is stripping that away from her out of insecurity. My sister argued that Paul has a right to set rules in his own house. I said sure, but if those rules drive her daughter away, that's a consequence she has to live with. And of course, her daughter is comparing the way Paul treats her to how her dad treats her, and the difference couldn't be clearer. I told my sister outright that Paul was being ridiculously petty, and by backing him up, she was making her daughter feel like she's less important than Paul's ego. She shot back at me, saying I was being unfair, and asked how I'd feel if my husband's ex had photos all over our house. I told her to stop exaggerating. It wasn't all over the house. It was just 1 or 2 photos in her daughter's bedroom. And if my husband had a child with someone else, I would absolutely allow that child to have their mom's photo in their own space. That's not about me. That's about the child's comfort and identity. Now my sister is furious with me. And to make matters worse, Paul decided to insert himself into the argument. He called me a judgmental B***TCH and said my niece needs to learn respect. In his mind, her screaming at him was pure disrespect, not a response to him constantly invalidating her relationship with her dad.
So here I am.
My sister's pissed at me, Paul's pissed at me, and my niece is hurting. I can't shake the feeling that my sister is sacrificing her daughter's happiness just to appease her husband. And I'm left wondering, am I really the A**hole for pointing that out? Am I the a-hole?